Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin LaVore.
And Michelle LaVore.
Coming at ya. And so today we got a little message for you, a little, more of our journey type of thing, which I'm sure is going to relate to the journey that you're on.
Yeah.
And we're going to, what are we going to title this, would it be?
I think we're just going to, we probably would title it The End Game.
The End Game. We are in the end game.
Yeah.
Take it away, sweetie pea.
So yesterday,
that was terrible.
So yesterday we were noticing that we were seeing numbers as they were switching to the next number. It was like, I saw 23 and it went to 24, or we were seeing numbers like 59, and it's kind of this symbol of like we're turning the page or we're going from one thing to the next. And so part of that then God was showing is that we are in the end game time.
Well, because we kept seeing 59
a lot of 59.
I mean, I think we saw 59 like 5 times yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm saying 59 and then suddenly it changes to like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Suddenly it changes to 8 o'clock or something like that. And it's like, what? How do you catch that number right at that moment?
That it's getting ready to switch, and it's not, and that's not something we've experienced. Like you don't normally see the numbers as they're switching. So it was like, okay, God is trying to say something to us. And actually, it was on the numbers that I had written on the board. We had we ended our God time at 10:23 as it was turning to 10:24.
Yes.
And so I had written God time.
That's crazy.
On our whiteboard, and we were in the kitchen talking, and I'd look over, and for some reason when I saw it, I thought it said end game. And I was like, that's so funny. And I was telling Devin, I was like, I thought I saw like end game. And then it was just like, whoa, this is actually from God. Like he's revealing something, because then like for me, I knew end game had to do with games, but I didn't really put the connection until you were telling me that end game, it really has to do with like chess.
So Michelle came and talked to me about it, and she was like, I need to understand chess, right? And I actually took you through a 2-minute chess game, and because she was like, how do you know, you're all about the timing.
I know.
And I'm just like, how do you know you've entered the end game in chess? And I was telling her, well, the stage 1 is, there's like 3 stages, beginning, middle, end. And the beginning is all about development. You got to develop your chess pieces. It's pivotal. It's pivotal for the next phase, which is warfare and sacrifice of pieces. And that's pivotal for the end game. And it's kind of like been like a picture of our whole story.
It really has.
How God in the beginning, he developed us. Even the whole almond blossom thing.
Yeah.
There was the blossom, then there was the fruit, and then there was the harvest. We haven't hit harvest yet.
No.
But that's kind of what this is all about. And so I just took her through a game, and I showed her like this one moment where it's like, boom, we just entered the end game right here. Because my opponent made a really dumb move. I took his rook, and I'm like, it's the end game now, because now the king's just going to be on the run.
Yeah.
He's just going to be on the run for his life until I corner him. So there is a little bit of time of waiting to see if he can do something. But the opponent I was playing, he actually just gave up.
Yeah.
He just stopped playing because he knew, it was like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing I can do at this point, Yeah. I kind of feel like that's where the enemy is right now.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I'm done. I can't do anything right now. He's not done. He's always going to be trying to attack because he can't do anything else but attack. But it's like when Jesus said, the enemy has come to me, the devil, the prince of this world has come to me, and he's found nothing in me. Meaning there's no triggers in me. There's nothing in me that he can push and trigger. I mean, we might feel him pushing the trigger. We might feel the issues, but it's not going to affect us. It's not going to take us down.
Yeah.
It's not going to lead us into temptation or lead us into sin or lead us into despair or worry or anything like that. It's like, because that's what all of our development and in our warfare training has been all about.
Yeah.
It's not even training. It's been actual warfare.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now we're in what's called the end game, where God's just zeroing in on checkmating this promise in our lives.
Yes. Which is so exciting. And I think it was really good too, because when Devin was showing me with the chess game, the beginning, middle, end, and then it's like that beginning is the development, and we related it to the blossoming, and then the middle part is that war and sacrifice, and it's like we have been, we really
well, and the interesting thing is you have to make the right sacrifices, or you ruin it. You turn the tide for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And really though, I likened that to with a tree. You're gonna prune a tree. There's pruning involved, and so that it can produce more fruit. And that you would reap the most benefit you can when it's harvest time. And that's what God has been doing this whole time in so many people's lives, in our lives especially, of just continually pruning. And then we're also in warfare, and God knows,
and we're wanting God to harvest during the blossom season, or we wanting Him to harvest during the fruit season.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we'll harvest during harvest time.
Yeah. and so it's like, now he's saying, hey, we are at the harvest time. We are in the end game.
Super right.
It is time for these promises to happen, to come into manifestation. And that's really what we mean by the harvesting and all of that in the end game.
Yeah.
And
finality. Lorelei Cooley just came out with a word today. It's Saturday, November 4th. I haven't read it because we don't read these things separately, because if I read a word and she hasn't read it, she'll be like, you read it without me?
Yeah.
And I'll do the same thing.
Vice versa.
Yeah, you read it without me?
Yeah.
You ate the last M&Ms?
Yeah.
I am, girl,
Never had that scenario, ever.
That's just a random example, No, you didn't. Yeah, but she came out with something, and I just skimmed it, We're allowed to skim.
Yeah.
And I skimmed it, and I was like, oh, she's talking about finality of things and all that. I'm like, oh, whoa, I can't read that. I'm just gonna wait for Michelle. And we haven't read it yet. That's interesting.
And so we really are. God gave me just this morning. It's really a great picture of this, and it's this area in my life that I didn't realize that I was wounded in until God showed me that I was wounded in. But it's been something that's just so huge. And basically Devin had this picture. We were praying, and God gave him this picture of, here's my tree, and I'm actually stuck in concrete. This particular area, it's just...
No, you weren't a tree.
Oh, I wasn't?
You were yourself.
Oh, I was myself.
You were yourself, and it was like you were stuck in concrete.
Oh.
It was like you were, maybe I don't know, maybe you got stuck in this concrete, but then it's solidified around your legs.
Well, I was picturing myself as a tree.
You were picturing yourself as a tree?
And all my roots were stuck in the concrete.
Same idea.
Yeah.
It really fits. But that's not what I saw.
Oh.
It was actually you, and you were just stuck there. And you were and there Jesus was, and he was just chiseling away. Because he's like, I can't just come and miracle that and just be like, bam, and it's because it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not trying to hurt you. This is the best way to do it. Just kind of chisel away. And I think that's what that 2-year preparation you went through was all about.
Yeah. So God, he told me, it was now about 2.5 years ago, but he said that I was in a 2-year preparation period. And
love to get those words. So encouraging.
It wasn't.
Thank you, Lord. I'm gonna have to wait, and you're telling me it's 2 years.
Yeah.
This is gonna be awesome. I feel so just awesome.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. So it really it was just this time of so much went on during that whole time.
It was like 2 lifetimes, wasn't it?
It was
crazy.
Of just God really really chiseling away. And I didn't realize what he was chiseling away at. And then there was a moment where during that time, it was kind of closer to the end of that. And about a year and a half into, a little over a year and a half, I finally had this kind of a breakthrough. And it was like Devin was saying, it's chisel, boom, this big chunk came off. But I'm still stuck in this thing. And so God is just, he keeps working and working and working.
I got one leg free. Awesome.
Yeah. And he's still working at it. And I feel like I think it was September, remember, there was that, just that.
Do I remember?
September. No, in September, I feel like there was another big chunk that fell off during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just still chisel, 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 chisel.
Major growth.
Chisel, chisel away.
September.
And then today, once again, this thing was just popping up, and it was like, wow, I finally just got to this point where it's just like, God, I can't do, I didn't realize it, but I was still really carrying it for myself. So what is this issue that I've been dealing with for years, like pretty much my whole life? And that's really what God was showing me, is that this concreting, the cementing happened, my whole life. And that issue is with finances and how I think about money. And there's just wounds that I've had from seeing, that was the thing that he showed me, from seeing just how money was handled or not handled. And
can I interrupt?
Yeah.
At least I asked. Anyway, because when I was praying for Michelle, I was like, I'm going to pray for her, because all it took for me, because the anger issue for me was like the financial issue for her. But God was like, not really. Mm-hmm. You just got wounded several years ago, and I could pray and scoop that out. It was just this light scab wound on your heart, and you can scoop it out, and it's, you're better.
Yeah.
Michelle, you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, because when I was praying for her, this is what I got when I was praying for her. I got the vision, and I'm praying, and I felt like the Lord's like, this has been going on. It was a deep wound, man. It was deep. A kind of wound that just, it was like if you actually took the scab of the wound out, it would create a big crater in the skin. Mm-hmm. Like that's how deep it was. And I was like, wow. And I felt like the Lord was like, this has been going on since she was a little girl. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, the way she saw money handled, not trying to be disrespectful to parents or anything like that, but it's just like the way she saw money handled, it really, really deeply scarred her to where she's afraid of losing money.
Yeah.
What if we get, and we've been dealing with that for a long time, man.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no matter how much growth we have and progress in our knowledge, we've gone through everything Dave Ramsey has to offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, and we've been practicing it with what little we have.
Yeah.
With what very little we have. And it's like, but we've been practicing it with the little. And God's like, all right, you've been faithful with the little. Here's 10 cities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, what? Mm-hmm. It's a little trailer of what's getting ready to happen. But that was the issue. It was something you've been, and it was hard for me to give the word because I was like, sweetie, I really feel like God's not going to heal you of that right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the word you want to deliver. Yeah. Another awesome word, you're going to just be going through some stuff for 2 years. Yes.
Yes, of course.
And I was like, wow, I feel like the Lord's saying, He's not going to just scoop it out like he did with me and the anger issue, because that's where they're different. It's like you were wounded by what you saw. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jesus. I just felt like the Lord said, you're going to be healed by what you see me do.
Yeah.
What you saw growing up wounded you, but what you're going to see me, your Heavenly Father, do is going to heal you. That's how I want to do it. And you're going to like it better that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just touches me every time I think about it, because I'm just like, wow. I'm already amazed. I'm already amazed by the divine precision of God and how it's like, no, let me do it this way. Because a lot of times I want to do it this way, give it them now. Yeah. And it's like, well, if I do it this way, it's gonna be permanent healing, and it's gonna launch you forward. So
yeah. And so this morning, it really was, God brought up that whole the healing and the revealing, the seeing it. And it's so funny because so many times on this journey, I just keep thinking, well, it's all for Devin. It's all for Devin, all this stuff. I mean, I know that I'm in it, but it's like, but this is so much. And God
I didn't get any of these promises. These are promises from 20 years ago for Devin. This is
but
all
then
for
it's
him.
like, you talked about it before of just but we've been grafted in together. Mm-hmm. And really, like, God showed me showed us just the other day about just some other things that it's like, there were turning points in my life, and it's like, but God is now going to take those and turn them for good.
Yeah.
And so it's like, wow, like, this really is about me too. and today was really just another one of those days.
Yeah.
Of
the healing and the revealing, right?
Yeah. And so basically, though, this morning, it was funny because Devin prayed for me, and I did feel like a sense of this peace, but I knew it wasn't like
the ultimate
gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I did feel a little bit of peace, but it was almost this like lifting up, and because when Devin was talking about the picture, he was like, okay, so now like God is going to lift you up out of the concrete and then put you into
into a bowl. I just saw a bowl of oil. It was like he finally chiseled out yourself.
Yeah.
And then he grabbed you and picked you up. You almost look like a Barbie doll. He just grabbed you by the waist, but because your legs were like just dangling, because you had been in this concrete. I'm telling you what, man. Woo! You've been in this concrete thinking about money for so long that when God finally pulled you out, your legs were dangling, symbolizing that you couldn't walk this out yet.
Yeah.
And so, and no matter how much he chiseled away, there were all these little tiny specks of concrete that were still attached to the flesh of your legs, and your legs kind of looked like they hadn't been used, like atrophied legs look. And so he set you in this bowl of oil. It looked like a great big bowl of Wesson. You know what I mean? And he set you in this oil, and you know, like you take a Barbie doll and you set them down, their feet are all stiff and straight like that, and you know. And so he set you down, and your legs, like, two things started happening at one time. It was like your legs grew like with great strength very fast. I mean, it was almost instantaneous. It was like some of those toys that you buy, you put them in water and they just that's what it was like. And it was like became muscle. I'm talking like Olympic sprinter level muscle. But that was happening at the same time that all these little specks, the oil was dissolving all those other little parts. Those parts that he just couldn't chisel off. It was like they were just dissolving, and they just completely disappeared. And then he took you out and said, or you actually got out on your own. That's what it was. You got out on your own, and you were like so strong. And it was like, yeah, you're going to be able to walk this out. And not only are you going to be able to walk this out, you're going to be able to walk it out strong with great confidence and an assurance of, like, because see, I think for you, that is your former shame.
Yeah.
You will not earnestly remember your former shame of being afraid of losing money, being afraid of having your money taken away from you, being afraid of like not ever having enough, and constantly like, oh God, survival. That's survival. See, because all the promises that I've had in my past that I brought into our relationship, it only activated things
that
God had already promised you anyway. You know, God promises everybody, and it's just like, and so I feel like it's like today God has lifted me out, and it's like, woohoo! This is awesome, because that's what you felt, right?
Yeah,
that
no, I really did.
Release.
It was like a release, and I just, because and it's like, I know right now it's like I can't do anything, like walk anything out, but I know, I think if anything, it was just like, okay, God, you have my heart. You really do have good for me in the financial area.
Well, and that relates, because you being lifted up relates, because that's where you're at right now. You're being lifted out. You haven't been set in the bowl of oil yet.
Yeah.
Because it relates to God having scooped our tree out of the cave, but we haven't been set down on the mountain yet. It relates to that whole door blowing open and this wind picking us up and setting us in our seat. But it's like, that part hasn't even happened yet. I think that's a later vision, honestly.
Yeah.
But because it's like, what does the bowl of oil represent?
Well, it represents like the money.
Mm-hmm.
And you said it was up to like my waist. I was sitting in money.
It was up to your waist, man. And I thought of the quail that God sent to the Israelites, that Moses led out of Egypt, and they were crying out for meat, 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 and God sent quail, and they said it was a quail up to their waists.
Yeah.
There was just so much.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, God did it to spite them. But
yeah.
He's not going to do it to spite us. He's going to do it to bless us.
But and it's a healing thing, you know, and so.
And that's what it is for me too.
Yeah.
It's like there's a healing and the revealing for us in our particular issue, and it's going to take a miracle. Now, like for other people out there, for you guys, what you might be waiting for is going to be completely different.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, a lot of people, you know, you might be struggling or whatever with finances, but that's not really the thing that you need breakthrough for. That's not the thing from your past that needs to be broken. That's not the thing that God has even been speaking to you about.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what the fill in the blank is. Whatever that is, you know that in order for it to happen, it's going to take a miracle.
Yeah.
And you're believing for God, and God's been sharing it with you. That's the important part. God's been sharing with you and speaking to you about it, saying, this is what's going to happen. This is I'm going to do this. You know, so it's like for us, that oil, and it's kind of interesting because one of the examples I also used this morning was like the miracle of like, hey, they're coming to, you know, kick us out of our, you know, like it was a single mom with her son or sons or something like that. And it was like, man of God, help me.
Wow.
Man of God, help me. And what did he use? He multiplied oil.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you got this oil. Okay, you've got the oil. Go get as many jars as you possibly can. Yeah. And she even went and borrowed jars from her friends and all that stuff, and he just kept pouring oil. It's like the loaves and the fishes thing, but it was the oil, and she used that oil to produce money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just felt like that. But this is the cool thing about the oil is like normally with a breakthrough, it does take some sort of fishes and loaves. What do you have in your hand? Give me that. All right, I'm going to reproduce it and mass produce it. Da, 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 da. I think for this one particular instance, it's not that. And I really feel like the Lord's been saying that the whole time. Like, nope. And honestly, even that vision I got this morning, all the visions, it totally matches with all the visions that we've had before. During this whole 2017 journey, it's about God, His hand, taking you and setting you in a blessing. Yeah. It's like with Adam. He took Adam out of the wilderness where he was created and set him in the garden. Yeah. There's a taking you out of this concrete and setting you in the bowl of oil. Yeah. There was no getting to it, walking into it, and climbing into it, or anything like that. So, you got your breakthrough. No, I'm just going to set you in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Which actually goes back to yesterday when God was speaking about the end game. I was like, okay, Lord, so what is our end game strategy? Because I realized,
what's our end game strategy? God's like, I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
Don't you? You the pieces. Don't you worry about
it. Well, because, I was reading through Joshua and I'm like, God gave Joshua like the game strategy to defeat Jericho. And I was just like, okay, well, Lord, what is our strategy? And immediately I was reminded of 2 Chronicles 20 and it's verse 17. 2017. And
I love it.
So it was just like, again, like right there, God is saying like, stand firm in your positions and you're going to see the deliverance of the Lord.
Keep doing what you've been doing.
Just keep doing what you're doing and you're going to see the deliverance of the Lord. And actually, I got to get the journal real quick.
You're hilarious.
So he was talking about seeing the deliverance of the Lord, and I just thought, and it's kind of funny because even yesterday the word see popped out at me, and I didn't know why.
Wow.
I did not know why. I'm serious. Like
I'm hearing this right now, same time you are. Yeah. Well, technically, probably like 8 hours before you, but you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, it was just like, for some reason, that word see
you never told me that.
I didn't.
There's so much we can't.
Yeah.
Even we don't share everything
Well,
with each
because
other.
even in that moment, it was like, it stuck out. But now, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, God can make something go, but that's all you get, and then later on
it doesn't make any sense.
It makes more sense.
So you might discard it. It just lets you know to keep things.
Yeah.
Let you know, I'm going to keep this. Because we keep getting 4s like insanely.
Yeah.
44. We saw 444. How many times yesterday? 4 times.
4 times.
444 in one day.
Yeah.
That's never happened. And we still don't have a clear, concise, like, ooh, this is what it means.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're just holding on to it.
Yep.
We're gathering all the 444s and just, it's going to mean something at some point.
But, and then I was reading, and it was like, basically he, again, talked about in verse 20, it's like, believe. You know, so basically stand firm, believe, and the last thing was to sing to the Lord praises. And that's really what he's been saying this whole time.
Worship.
Yep. And it's just like, okay, that is the end time strategy.
Which we've been doing for like ever.
What we've been doing, because it is God who is going to bring the breakthrough. Yeah. Like the Israelites in that moment, they did not have to fight. Just like with Jericho, they did not have to fight. And even in that, it was, they just did what God said to do.
The biggest stronghold in the land.
Yeah.
The biggest thing. Not only that, but it was the first thing.
Yeah.
And God was like, I need to let you know something before you guys go into the promised land. Mm-hmm. I did this.
Yeah.
And it's like, from this point on, yeah, you're going to, because God gave us some personal prophetic words last night. For like, for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
But it was like, after they did Jericho, then they went on to like what would be considered normal way of breakthrough.
Yeah.
God delivers it into your hand, but you got to go do it and fight it. But he's like, no. This first thing that I'm going to do in the new land, the first thing is going to be just all me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to have you guys go around. I'm going to have you do some things, but you're going to lift up a sword. You're going to do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that was really, like, one of the things, too, is when they were marching around, it was the trumpets. The sound of the trumpets that brought the wall down. It was the sound of the trumpets and a shout of victory. And that's really what God has been doing. He's been putting in his people the sound of the trumpet, meaning just our praises and all of the worship that we've been giving him. And then it also is the shout of victory, because I feel like, at least for us, it's been like, yes, God is victorious. He is victorious. And so we are shouting, our God is victorious. And so it really is, we're at that end game where the only thing left is that checkmate. Like, hey, this has come to pass.
And God's saying, I'm closing in on the king, man.
Really quickly.
Closing in on the king.
We keep getting that acceleration. Like, there is just an acceleration that's happening.
Our daughter prophesied.
Yeah, she did.
She's like, I only got one word. It was accelerate. What? Oh, Lord, catch me.
And it's been talked about over and over and over again, just during this whole season.
Yeah.
And just I think if anything, it's like, just rejoice, because it's basically the battle as far as for these victories. What God is doing right now, it's like, okay, that's those deep battles that we've gone through. Fighting for
Valley of the shadow of death battles.
Yeah, it's like, okay, those are no more. Just stand still, praise the Lord, and you're gonna see the victory of God by just keep believing, because He is ready. Like, He is like, all right, just a few more things. And it's so funny, because even earlier in this journey, I really felt like I kept talking about, well, it's like God it's this giant chessboard that he's doing, and he keeps moving pieces, and he's like moving all these pieces into place. And I'm like, whoa, like, this is so cool. And then at the end
how
it all comes together. And so that's really I think all that we have for you guys today. And just know it is the end game. Be just super excited, because we're going to see just the mighty hand of God do some crazy miracles in our lives.
And thank you so much to all of you guys who have been donating to us recently. we pretty much email you right away.
Yeah.
As soon as we get, or within a couple hours, depending. We got 4 kids, so.
Yeah.
But we just want to say thank you,
Yes.
big time, because I think sometimes some of the emails that we send don't get received or something. But it's just like it's been a huge blessing. I mean, we're still quite a ways off from where we need to be. But it's like it's huge. I mean, I wanted to make a video today, didn't I?
Yeah.
I wanted to make a video telling people like why the giving and how the giving is so big for you. Like how when you give, and like that's just a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, when you give whatever amount it is, if you're giving from yourself to someone else, it's like it's just awesome. I think that's just how the divine economy works and all that. But that's a whole nother video. So, but we really, really, really appreciate you guys, and we appreciate all the comments and the encouragements, and when you guys email us stuff that you don't necessarily want to put in a comment, and we can communicate that way.
Yeah.
It's just been really cool, and we pray for you guys, and thank you for praying for us. And it's just really awesome how all of us who are doing the YouTube thing and who are receiving from the YouTube thing and who are doing who are in ministry and who are receiving ministry, it's really both is happening
really
at the same time. It's like when you go on a mission trip, you're going to bless a nation, but that nation ends up being a blessing to you as well. And so it's like that, and that's really the kingdom of God. That's how the kingdom of God really works. You know, Jesus went into a place to bless people, and obviously he blessed people, but he was blessed also by just receiving them and just fellowshipping with them, because that's what he wanted to do. You know, so it's like that's the kingdom of God, and that's how it works. And you guys have been a huge part of our journey, as well as us being a part of your journey, and it's just been awesome. You know, we really, really thank you guys, and we just say welcome to the new subscribers, which we probably should have said at the beginning, but you know how we are, we just like to jump right in. But yeah, so thank you guys so much, and
we'll
see you next video.
See you guys soon. Bye.
See ya.